Rain fell softly on the campus of Westbridge University, creating a gentle rhythm against the old stone buildings that had stood for over a century. Emma Hartley stood under the archway of the library, her auburn hair catching the dim light as she waited for the downpour to ease. She clutched her literature books close to her chest, thinking about the essay she needed to finish before midnight. At 21, she was in her final year, focused and determined to graduate with honors. Romance was the last thing on her mind. That's when she first saw him. Adrian Cole walked through the rain as if he didn't even notice it, his dark coat billowing slightly in the wind. He moved with a confidence that seemed almost choreographed, like he owned every space he entered. His sharp features and intense eyes gave him an air of mystery that immediately caught Emma's attention. When he looked up and their eyes met for just a brief second, something shifted in the air between them. He smiled faintly, then continued walking toward the science building. Emma felt her heart skip in a way it never had before. She told herself it was nothing, just a passing stranger, but she couldn't stop thinking about that moment for the rest of the day. The next morning, Emma sat in her favorite corner of the campus coffee shop, trying to focus on her reading. The place was crowded with students cramming for exams and others just socializing. She ordered her usual vanilla latte and settled into her routine. But then she heard a familiar voice. "Is this seat taken?" She looked up, and there he was, Adrian Cole, standing beside her table with a coffee in hand and that same faint smile on his face. Emma's throat went dry. She shook her head, unable to form words immediately. "Great," he said, sitting down across from her. "I'm Adrian. I saw you yesterday at the library. You looked like you were waiting for something important." Emma finally found her voice. "Just waiting for the rain to stop." "I'm Emma." "Emma," he repeated, as if testing how her name sounded. "Beautiful name. What are you studying?" "Comparative literature," she said, feeling herself relax slightly. "And you?" "Psychology," he answered. "I'm fascinated by how people think. What drives them? What breaks them?" The way he said it made Emma feel slightly uncomfortable, but she brushed it off as her own nervousness. They talked for over an hour. Adrian was charming, witty, and seemed genuinely interested in everything she said. He asked about her favorite books, her childhood, her dreams for the future. Emma found herself opening up in ways she rarely did with strangers. When she mentioned she loved classic romance novels, Adrian's eyes lit up. "Ah, a romantic," he said. "Do you believe in love at first sight?" Emma laughed, feeling her cheeks warm. "I don't know. I think love takes time to build. First sight is just attraction." "Maybe," Adrian said, leaning forward slightly. "But sometimes you just know when someone is meant to be in your life. Don't you think?" The intensity in his gaze made Emma's pulse quicken. She nodded, not trusting herself to speak. From that day forward, Adrian became a constant presence in Emma's life. He would show up at the coffee shop when she was there, sit beside her in the library, walk her to her classes even though his own were in the opposite direction. At first, Emma thought it was sweet. He was attentive, thoughtful, and made her feel like the center of the universe. Her roommate, Sophie, was thrilled for her. "You finally found someone," Sophie squealed when Emma told her about Adrian. "He sounds perfect." "He is pretty amazing," Emma admitted, though a small voice in the back of her mind whispered caution. She ignored it. 2 weeks later, Adrian asked Emma on a proper date. He took her to an expensive Italian restaurant downtown, the kind of place Emma had never been able to afford on her student budget. He ordered wine, made her laugh with stories about his childhood in Europe, and held her hand across the table. Under the candlelight, he looked almost ethereal. "I've never met anyone like you, Emma," he said softly. "You're genuine, real. Everyone else is so fake, so shallow. But you're different." Emma felt her heart swell. "I feel the same way about you." That night, when he walked her back to her dorm, he kissed her gently under the streetlight. It was perfect, like something out of the novels she loved. Emma felt like she was floating. The relationship moved quickly after that. Within a month, Adrian had given Emma a key to his apartment, a sleek, modern space on the edge of campus. He told her he wanted her to feel at home there, that his space was her space. Emma was touched by the gesture and started spending most of her nights there. But then, small things began to change. One evening, Emma was getting ready to meet Sophie for dinner when Adrian asked where she was going. When she told him, his expression darkened slightly. "Sophie again?" he said. "You've been spending a lot of time with her lately." "She's my best friend," Emma said, confused. "We always have dinner on Thursdays." Adrian was quiet for a moment, then forced a smile. "Of course. I just miss you when you're not here. But go, have fun." Emma left feeling uneasy. though she couldn't quite explain why. The dinner with Sophie was nice, but Emma found herself checking her phone constantly, worried that Adrian might be upset. The next week, when Emma mentioned she was going to a study group, Adrian's reaction was worse. He accused her of not caring about their relationship, of prioritizing everyone else over him. Emma was shocked. She tried to explain that she needed to study, that finals were coming up, but Adrian just shook his head. "If you loved me, you'd want to spend time with me," he said coldly. Then he walked into his bedroom and locked the door. Emma stood in the living room, tears streaming down her face, wondering what she had done wrong. After an hour, Adrian came out and apologized profusely. He held her close, kissed her forehead, and told her he was just scared of losing her. "I love you so much, Emma. Sometimes it terrifies me. I've been hurt before and I can't go through that again. Please, just don't leave me." Emma melted. She understood fear, understood vulnerability. She promised him she would never leave, that he was the most important person in her life. But the incidents continued. Adrian started checking her phone when she wasn't looking. He would ask detailed questions about where she'd been, who she'd talked to, what they'd discussed. He convinced her to stop going to certain classes, saying the professors were incompetent and she could study better at home with him. Sophie noticed the change in Emma. Her friend had become withdrawn, always making excuses to avoid hanging out. When Sophie confronted her about it, Emma defended Adrian. "He's just protective," Emma said. "He loves me." "Emma, this isn't love," Sophie said gently. "He's controlling you. Can't you see that?" Emma felt anger flare in her chest. How dare Sophie say such things about Adrian? She didn't understand him, didn't understand their relationship. Emma left without saying goodbye, and she didn't speak to Sophie for 2 weeks after that. Adrian praised her for cutting Sophie out. "She was jealous of what we have," he told her. "Real friends support you. She was just trying to poison you against me." Emma believed him because she wanted to, because the alternative, that Sophie was right, was too terrifying to consider. 3 months into their relationship, Adrian suggested Emma move in with him permanently. She hesitated, knowing it would mean giving up her dorm room and her independence. But Adrian made it sound so reasonable. "We're together all the time anyway," he said. "Why waste money on a dorm you never use? Plus, I want to wake up next to you every morning. Don't you want that too?" Emma did want that, so she agreed. The first few days were wonderful. Adrian cooked breakfast for her, left sweet notes around the apartment, and seemed genuinely happy. But then Emma mentioned she needed to go to the campus library to research her thesis. "Why?" Adrian asked, his tone sharp. "You can research here. I'll help you. I need access to the university archives," Emma explained. "They're not available online." Adrian's jaw tightened. "Fine, but I'm coming with you." "Adrian, you don't have to." "I said I'm coming." At the library, Adrian sat beside Emma the entire time, watching everything she did. When a male classmate came over to ask about a group project, Adrian's hand gripped Emma's thigh so tightly it left a bruise. The classmate quickly left, sensing the tension. That night, Adrian interrogated Emma about the classmate. Who was he? How did they know each other? Had they ever been involved? Emma's denials only seemed to make him angrier. He accused her of lying, of hiding things from him. When Emma started crying, Adrian's demeanor changed instantly. He apologized, held her, told her he was just insecure because he loved her so much. The pattern became predictable. Adrian would lash out, Emma would cry, then Adrian would apologize and become sweet again. Each cycle made Emma doubt herself more. Maybe she was being inconsiderate. Maybe she needed to try harder to make him feel secure. Emma's grades began to slip. She missed deadlines, skipped classes, and withdrew from activities she once loved. Her professors expressed concern, but Emma brushed them off. Everything was fine. She was just busy with her relationship. One afternoon, Emma received a text from her mother asking if she was okay. They hadn't spoken in weeks, which was unusual. Emma realized with horror that she had been so consumed by Adrian that she'd forgotten to call home. She immediately dialed her mother's number. "Sweetheart, we've been so worried," her mother said. "You haven't answered our calls or messages. Is everything all right?" "I'm fine, Mom. Just busy with school and I've been seeing someone." "That's wonderful. We'd love to meet him. Why don't you both come home for the weekend?" Emma felt panic rise in her chest. The thought of taking Adrian home, of him meeting her family, felt overwhelming. But she agreed because saying no would raise too many questions. When she told Adrian about the visit, he seemed pleased. "Can't wait to meet the people who raised such an incredible woman," he said. The weekend arrived and they drove to Emma's childhood home 3 hours away. At first, everything went smoothly. Adrian was charming, polite, and helpful. Emma's parents seemed to like him, and her younger brother was impressed by Adrian's stories. But on the second night, Emma's father pulled her aside. Emma, can we talk? Sure. Dad, what's wrong? Her father looked uncomfortable. It's about Adrian. I don't want to overstep. But there's something about him that doesn't sit right with me. The way he watches you, the way he answers for you sometimes. Are you happy? Emma felt defensive immediately. Of course I'm happy. Adrian is amazing. You barely know him. You're right. I don't know him well. But I know you, sweetheart. And you seem different, smaller somehow. Emma's eyes filled with tears. I'm fine, Dad. Really, you're just not used to seeing me with someone. Her father sighed. Okay, but if you ever need anything, if you ever feel unsafe, you can always come home. No questions asked. Emma nodded, though she couldn't understand why her father would say such a thing. That night, she lay awake next to Adrian in the guest room, her father's words echoing in her mind. Smaller. Was she smaller? The drive back to campus was tense. Adrian was quiet, his hands gripping the steering wheel tightly. Finally, he spoke. Your father doesn't like me. That's not true, Emma said quickly. He just doesn't know you yet. He looked at me like I was a criminal. What did he say to you? Emma hesitated. Nothing. Just that he's glad I'm happy. Adrian glanced at her, his eyes cold. Don't lie to me, Emma. I can always tell when you're lying. Emma's stomach churned. He just wanted to make sure I was okay. Parent stuff. Parent stuff, Adrian repeated mockingly. Your father thinks I'm not good enough for you. I could see it in his eyes. He thinks his precious daughter deserves better. Adrian, that's not... Shut up. Emma froze. Adrian had never told her to shut up before. The silence in the car was suffocating. When they finally got back to the apartment, Adrian went straight to the bedroom and slammed the door. Emma sat on the couch, her hands shaking, not knowing what to do. Hours later, Adrian emerged. His eyes were red, and he looked exhausted. He sat beside Emma and took her hand. I'm sorry, he whispered. I shouldn't have snapped at you. It's just, I could feel them judging me, and it brought back bad memories. My own family never accepted me. I thought yours might be different. Emma's heart broke for him. She pulled him into her arms. They'll come around. They just need time. Adrian nodded against her shoulder, and Emma felt him relax. She told herself that everything would be okay, that they just needed to get through this rough patch. But things didn't get better. They got worse. Adrian started dictating what Emma could wear. Anything too revealing, too tight, too colorful was deemed inappropriate. Emma found herself dressing in baggy clothes and dark colors to avoid his criticism. He also began controlling her diet, saying he was worried about her health. Emma, who had always been slender, started losing weight. Her reflection in the mirror looked hollow, gaunt. Sophie tried reaching out multiple times, but Emma's phone was now monitored by Adrian. He had installed an app that let him see all her messages, calls, and locations. He said it was for her safety, that the world was dangerous and he needed to know she was okay. Emma didn't argue. She was too tired to argue about anything anymore. One night, Emma woke up to find Adrian standing over her staring. When she asked what was wrong, he said he was just watching her sleep because she looked so peaceful. The next morning, Emma found a journal hidden in Adrian's desk drawer. Curiosity got the better of her, and she opened it. What she read made her blood run cold. Page after page was filled with detailed notes about her. What time she woke up, what she ate, who she talked to, what she wore. But it wasn't just recent entries. The journal dated back months before they'd even met. Adrian had been watching her, studying her, long before he introduced himself that day at the coffee shop. There were photographs too. Pictures of Emma walking to class, sitting in the library, laughing with Sophie, all taken from a distance, without her knowledge. And then there were the darker entries. Adrian's fantasies about possessing her completely, about making sure no one else could ever have her. He wrote about previous relationships, about women who had betrayed him and how he'd made sure they regretted it. Emma's hands trembled as she read. This wasn't love. This was obsession. This was insanity. She heard the front door open. Adrian was back from his morning run. Emma quickly put the journal back and tried to compose herself, but her heart was racing too fast. When Adrian walked into the bedroom, he immediately sensed something was wrong. What's the matter? He asked, his eyes narrowing. Nothing, Emma said, but her voice cracked. I'm not feeling well. Adrian moved closer, studying her face. You're lying. What did you do? I didn't do anything, Did you go through my things? His voice was deadly quiet. Emma's silence was answer enough. Adrian's expression transformed into something Emma had never seen before. Pure, cold rage. You had no right. Then he said, each word clipped. Those are my private thoughts. Adrian, those entries. You've been stalking me. Before we even met. I was protecting you, he shouted. I was making sure you were safe, making sure you were perfect for me. And you are. Emma, you're perfect. We're perfect together. No, Emma said, backing away. This isn't healthy. This isn't love. I need some space. The moment the words left her mouth, Emma knew she'd made a mistake. Adrian's face went blank, emotionless. He walked calmly to the bedroom door and locked it from the inside. You're not leaving me, he said simply. You promised you'd never leave me. Emma's breath came in short gasps. Adrian, please, just unlock the door. We can talk about this. We are talking about it, and I'm telling you that you're staying here, with me, where you belong. Emma looked at the window, calculating if she could reach it before Adrian could stop her. But they were on the 4th floor. Even if she could open it, jumping would likely kill her. I love you, Emma, Adrian continued, sitting on the edge of the bed. I love you more than anyone has ever loved another person. Why can't you see that? Why do you want to hurt me? I don't want to hurt you, Emma said, trying to keep her voice steady. I just think we both need some time apart to think clearly. No, Adrian's voice was final. You're not thinking clearly. You're confused. Someone's been poisoning your mind against me. Was it Sophie? Your father? Tell me who it was. No one, Adrian. I read your journal and it scared me. Adrian stood up and walked toward her slowly. Emma pressed herself against the wall, her heart pounding so loudly she could hear it in her ears. I would never hurt you, Adrian whispered, reaching out to touch her face. Everything I do is because I love you. Can't you see that? Emma flinched at his touch, and something in Adrian's eyes changed. The pretense of gentleness dropped away, revealing something dark and dangerous underneath. You're afraid of me, he observed, almost clinically. Interesting. That wasn't supposed to happen yet. Yet? Emma echoed, her voice barely a whisper. Adrian smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. I had a plan. You know, a timeline. We were supposed to have at least another year of happiness before you found out the truth. But you just couldn't help yourself. Could you? You had to snoop. You had to ruin everything. Emma's legs felt weak. What truth? The truth about what I am, Adrian said, moving even closer. The truth about what I do. Do you want to know, Emma? Do you really want to know what happened to the other women who tried to leave me? Emma didn't want to know. She desperately didn't want to know. But Adrian was going to tell her anyway. There was Jessica. Beautiful. Smart. A lot like you, actually. She lasted 8 months before she tried to run. I found her at her sister's house. The sister tried to protect her. They found their bodies 3 days later. Murder-suicide, the police said. Tragic. Emma felt bile rise in her throat. Then there was Natalie. She went to the police. Got a restraining order. Very clever girl. But restraining orders are just pieces of paper. She died in a car accident. Faulty brakes. These things happen. Stop, Emma begged. Please stop. And then there was Lily. Sweet, naive Lily. She simply disappeared one day. Ran away. Everyone assumed. They never found her body. Do you want to know where she is? Emma? She's in a lake about 40 miles from here, weighted down with chains. She's been there for 2 years. Emma's legs gave out and she slid down the wall to the floor. This couldn't be real. This had to be a nightmare. But Adrian's calm, matter-of-fact tone told her it was all true. I don't want to hurt you, Adrian said, crouching down to her level. You're special, Emma. You're the one I thought I could build a real life with. But if you force my hand, if you try to leave me, well, I've always said I'd rather see you dead than with someone else. Emma couldn't breathe, couldn't think. Her entire body was shaking uncontrollably. Now, Adrian said, standing up and unlocking the bedroom door. I'm going to go make us some lunch. You're going to wash your face, put on a smile, and we're going to have a nice meal together. And we're never going to speak of this again. Do you understand? Emma nodded numbly. Good girl. Adrian left the room, and Emma heard him whistling in the kitchen as if everything was normal. She sat on the floor, her mind racing. She needed to get out. She needed to run. But where could she go? Adrian knew everything about her. He knew where her family lived, where her friends were, where she liked to go. He'd been watching her for months before they even met. And if she went to the police, what would she tell them? That her boyfriend had a creepy journal? That he'd confessed to murders but had made them all look like accidents? There was no evidence, no proof, just his word against hers. Emma realized with horrible clarity that she was trapped, completely, utterly trapped.